All right. Are you? Pledge of Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. We will call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Mr. Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vaughn Crooks.
Here.
Benedetti.
Present.
Cabawatten.
Present.
Lefevre.
Here.
Pate.
Here.
Perugi. Urzepa.
Here.
Quorum present, Mayor Urzepa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk.
Mayor Zephyr, I make a motion to excuse Councilman Perugi. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move right on here to the minute approval of the June 15th, 2020 regular meeting.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered. Next on the agenda, presentations and proclamation. We have Elizabeth Gear, proposal to legally own chickens in Trenton. I'm going to entertain a motion to make this part of the regular meeting.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered. So, Mrs. Gear? Mr. Gear? Yeah. Because, yeah, if we're to take the podium together however you prefer here. And so we'll have them go through the presentation here that they've got. They've contacted us a few months ago, pre-pandemic, all that fun stuff.
Is the presentation already on here?
Do you know if it's loaded on, Eric?
I can see it on here.
That was the password, and he locked out.
Okay.
Where is it?
The screen.
Oh, no, Bill, it's in here.
Got it.
You want my copy?
I got a copy here.
So you have my copy if you want.
In the folder.
Now everything just plays through the TV through there, right?
I think so.
I think we gotta put the screen down, guys.
Yeah, certainly. I don't know how that.
Or is there not a way to do that? You had a thing back there to turn, would come down. A key?
Oh, okay, yeah, Eric will be able to get that once he sits down
I can
here.
pull that down.
This is fucked up and I can't see.
I know, I can't either.
So my name is Corey Sullivan. It's my wife, Elizabeth Sullivan. And with our
I
presentation.
apologize, we had that wrong on the agenda listed here then, my apologies.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. So our presentation is about half an hour long or so. There's a lot of detail to it, but we can summarize it to the 5 minutes or so that you
Yeah, that would be ideal, and we'll have questions and stuff after that fact.
Chickens with you?
Yeah, sorry, it's not.
Okay. I brought a laptop.
Yeah, we have a laptop.
Yeah, we'll
too
have
that
the
we
whole
can go.
presentation on file that council has gotten, and then the record, so if we could do the 5-minute one, and then we won't include question time for that, we'll open it up to council for questions from there.
Okay. Yeah, and also as well, we can also email a copy of the presentation to any citizens or anybody else in the area that might
Okay,
want a
great.
copy of it for
Yeah, and
information
anyone that's
purposes.
watching that might want that, feel free to contact the clerk's office, and we can get that
Yeah.
squared away.
And then for the information for the presentation, we got all of our sources from the City of Trenton Code of Ordinances, and then also from the Michigan State, the Department of Agriculture for the state of Michigan. So those are two sources, and for each slide, it's cited on the bottom of each screen, and then we have the codes too, and.
All right, so yeah, whenever you guys are ready, just for background too, they'd contacted us, this was several months ago, right around the start of all this, and we had, I know our clerk had some back and forth there and suggested that we just wait to do it in person rather than try and orchestrate this via our Zoom meetings, because as much as we loved that technological change for a while. It let's just say it got old. But yeah, it's a lot easier to have these discussions and be able to do the two-way communication through this. So I appreciate your guys' patience on
Yeah.
this too.
So thanks so
thank-
much for having us. So again, I'm Elizabeth, and this is my husband, Corey Sullivan. So we're just here to present a proposal to legally own chickens for the city of Trenton. So today, we're just going to go over the benefits of owning chickens as pets, the current laws in Trenton for ownership of fowl birds, and examples of neighboring towns that allow the ownership of the yard birds, as well as proposals and changes to the current Trenton ordinances, and then we'll do a little wrap-up at the end. So what are the benefits of owning chickens? Well, they do make great pets and are wonderful for children and families. With Corey and I actually expecting our first child, we would be really excited to give our child the experience of raising and owning their pets as well. So they make great companions, and they teach kids where their food comes from and the importance of self-reliance and responsibility.
As well, with having chickens, it provides a more healthy lifestyle. With today's modern world, half of us don't know where our food comes from. So our food the food, in the farming industry and everything, the chickens that you buy from the store, the eggs could be pumped full of steroids and hormones and all kinds of crazy stuff. So if we had some backyard yard birds, we can have a more healthy source of food production, and you know where your food comes from, basically.
Exactly. It also reduces grocery bills. So with the ever-rising cost of groceries in the modern world, it is imperative that people have the freedom and the resources to live a self-reliant lifestyle. And with the recent COVID experience that we've all gone through, we've all noticed there's been breakdowns in supply chain, and the cost of eggs and other groceries have gone up. So this would be another alternative for not having to experience that.
And also, chickens, they're natural peckers. They pick at all the fleas and ticks and all the yard insects and everything that's in your yard. And then you could have different styles of coops that you can position throughout your yard. But it also reduces all the chemicals that you can use on your yard to keep away all the pests.
And chicken waste makes excellent garden compost. Okay, so here are the current City of Trenton ordinances regarding owning birds. So it shall be unlawful for any person to keep any animal or bird within 300 feet of any dwelling, street, alley, or public space. There are regulations on proper sanitization regarding pets. So basically, this just states it's unlawful if you do have a bird to allow any waste on public property.
And again, for the sources, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, it's all sourced directly from the Code of Ordinances. So you can go there and you can also reference all that information. And we're just, again, we're just going to summarize all the stuff to keep the presentation nice and short for you guys.
Moving on, we have disposal of waste. So just making sure that any manure or offal from household pets or domestic animals be placed in proper bags and disposed in wraps, so to not be obnoxious or offensive. And then obviously for disposal of animal remains, this just states you need to make sure you're properly disposing, making sure that you're not throwing animal remains in public spaces or in any streams like ponds, sewer, or in any other body of water. So here are actually some examples of neighboring towns that allow chickens as pets. You'll be familiar with all of these nearby cities. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have them listed here for your reference. As well as an example of what an ordinance shows for one of the local cities that does allow chickens as pets, which is Royal Oak. So again, not going to go over the details here, but it's here for your reference. Okay. So this is actually the proposal that we've come up with after doing a lot of research. So for the city of Trenton, we would propose 2 items in general. Any person residing in a single-family detached dwelling on residential zone district property after obtaining a permit from the city may keep on the property not more than 6 hen female chickens for personal use only and not for business or commercial use, and that the chickens may be kept as family pets or to lay eggs for personal consumption only.
And for these guidelines, of course, this is something that the city officials have to go through the city inspectors to form out some sort of official, guidelines and some rules and regulations for all this. But these are all just examples of what you guys can go off of, maybe. So.
And then we've also laid out some detailed licensing and inspection and housing requirements that we thought would be helpful for the city if this were to pass. And in summary, we've gone through that owning chickens as pets can be a positive and healthy experience for the entire family. We've also talked through the current ordinances of the city of Trenton and also mentioned that there are many neighboring towns such as Royal Oak that have lawful possessions of chickens. And then we've also provided a proposal for the amendments to the current ordinances for Trenton. And so with that, we just wanted to thank you all again for having us here, and then also open for any questions if time allows.
Great. Well, thank you guys very, very much. We certainly appreciate that. So I think now, oh, wow, that was almost perfectly, yeah, all right. I don't know how to stop it, actually, so we'll just listen to a couple beeps and we'll be all right. But so, yeah, we'll open up to questions here from the council then, if we wanted to start. So Councilman Cabalwadden?
Quick question. So you mentioned neighboring communities. Which communities, is there any downriver communities that actually do this? Those are all Oakland County and a couple of Western Wayne communities up there.
Correct.
Sure. Actually, Grozeal does have an allowance for chickens as pets. We didn't include Grozeal specific, their specific policy, but I think that they have a restriction on how large your yard is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Von Crooks?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I've had a lot of calls just recently and in the past about chickens in backyards, and I just want to let you know that I'm a no on this, because it's very intrusive to some families, and nothing personal. I know everybody has a different idea what they want as a pet, but I've had a lot of calls, and people just don't want it. They don't want the smell. It causes rodents. Feral cats go after the chickens. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why the residents have called and, said they really aren't in favor of this ordinance, and that they bought their house knowing that our ordinance was they couldn't have pets like this or other things. People have come forth and wanted monkeys and different things and snakes and whatever. So I just want to let you know from the calls that I've had and the contacts that I've had about this and research, I'm a no for Trenton on this. I mean, if we weren't so close together in family, yards, it'd be different, or if it's out in the country, but I'm just personally one vote for one person. I'm a no on this. I mean, I didn't want to belabor it, but I'm just to let you know, and I respect your, opinion, but I'm a no. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Councilman Cabalwadden.
Mr. Mayor, I think moving forward, I think the proper routing for this would be to send it to Planning Commission after we have some dialogue, and I'd be happy to make that motion whenever it's appropriate, so.
Sure, thank you very much for that. And I'll do Councilman LaFever, and then I'll kind of piggyback on that a little
What
bit.
part of Trenton do you live in?
We live near Fortin West.
Orton West?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a lot of friends who have chickens. None of them have them as pets. None. They all have them for the eggs, okay, you know what I'm saying? And it's a hard deal, to go ahead and decide what people are going to do. And do you know anybody who has chickens in Trenton?
No, sir.
Really?
No. Yeah, it's not legal currently.
Okay,
So.
very interesting. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Tate?
Yeah, I'm just in favor of learning a little bit more about it. I was actually approached at one of my campaign events by somebody who was interested in this topic, and I asked if they had had any problems. Was there a reason why they came forward and were interested in wanting to talk about it? And I can't remember if it was you specifically, because you see a lot of people, but they had said no, and I do know some friends who have chickens. I won't say who, but but I've not ever heard of any complaints, so I'd be interested in just hearing from other communities about that side of it. I'm wondering about, and maybe Scott, you can help us out with this, on the ordinance. It says it shall be unlawful within 300 feet. So is it lawful to own chickens if you have that large of a yard?
Correct.
In Trenton, is that correct? But we just don't have
There's
those
just a
size lots.
limited amount of space in Trenton that
Okay.
has that sizing of lots.
Yeah, that's what I needed clarifying too. So we just have to work on the different types of We have several different types of residential zoning also in the city, which Mayor and I discussed, and there's a new zoning proposal coming out shortly as well. So I would not mind having the Planning Commission take their look at it.
Right.
And then maybe I'll call some communities too and see, how they're doing that you've listed here.
Great.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Does your lot comply with the new ordinance?
With the new ordinance?
If we did the ordinance, would your lot allow you to have chickens on your property, 300 feet?
No, with the current ordinance, ours does not allow that, but with our proposal, it would.
And in the past, I did speak with the city inspector about this, and he said that there's not a law against having chickens. It's about the fencing. So it all kind of comes back to the fencing, and these are some discussions that should be brought with the city inspectors because they know more about this area. But there's something about how you can't have chicken wire fencing in Trenton. And there were some gray areas as well with this, but we wanted to have like some sort of legitimate discussion with you nice people about this, and get some actual laws made and some actual rules and regulations, do's and don'ts, and everything. And there should be a way that we can have some chickens in Trenton, and also have some good stringent laws. And if people break the laws, then they get fined. As simple as that, And we should be able to come up with some rules and regulations for the ordinances to where we should be able to have chickens. And then as long as people will follow the regulations and they have nice, clean, well-kept coops and all that stuff, and then there shouldn't be no problems, right? But if people if the city inspector were to go to someone's house or residence and give them some sort of inspection, and then if the coop isn't sanitary, if it's uncapped, if it's a mess, and so on and so forth, they should be fined.
I mean, it's not cheap for a chicken coop, you know what I'm saying? They have a safe one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I actually built one a few years ago, and I mean, if somebody wants to build a coop and if somebody wants to go through all the expenses of having chickens and
Put a
everything.
rat wall in?
I'm sorry?
You put a rat wall in your chicken coop too?
No, sir, no. But again, like there are some things that should be applied to chicken coops to keep rodents in a way, to foxes and everything, and coyotes and stuff like that. So these are some
Proper fencing.
proper fencing. There should be certain criteria that of course should be applied to the chicken coops. And then we can have that in some sort of statement put out by the city council. So I believe that if you come together with the city inspectors, and we can refer to the Michigan Department of Agriculture guidelines and so on and so forth, and that material, then we can come up with some sort of information and guidelines as far as proper chicken use and coop use. And then if people don't follow the ordinances, they can be fined. Their chicken coop can be shut down. They can have random inspections by the city inspectors. So there should be ways that we can come together and form ideas and form some policies to where we can have this. So
Thank you.
thank you.
So, Councilman Capuano.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to refer this to the Planning Commission for further review and recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Now, I'll to Scott's point too here, just for my 2 cents here, that I think that, it's right now, just to give you guys actually the heads up, is that our Planning Commission is doing a wholesale new zoning map to analyze basically all of this, and so this is actually probably pretty good timing in regards to something like this for review. I won't pretend to be some sort of expert building official or anything of that, but I mean the one caveat I'd have is that it's interest in Trenton because we have such huge variances in some lot sizes, whereas, on Lafayette or on Lathrop or something like that, it looks a lot different than on Norwood or Longmeadow or things like that. So I would, I certainly support Councilman Capuaton's motion to have our commission that does look at these things to take a look at this and see what recommendation they come back. Because, we have, I think, 4 different types of residential zoning that might work in some, might not work in others, or things like that. But, I would certainly be okay with that. So I just wanted to give my heads up there, too. So we've got a motion and support. Is there any further discussion on that? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. So we'll have our planning commission take a look at this, see what they can incorporate or cannot incorporate, and we'll have someone from administration keep you guys posted too.
Great,
So-
thank you guys so much.
Great.
Yeah.
Just one last question. Is there like a point of contact for the planning commission so we can check in every now and then? see how
Yeah, so they
progress is
have, all
going?
their meetings are posted on the city website, and they actually have one coming up, I believe, this Wednesday. I don't know that we'll have all the information over to them by then, but all that should be on the city website. I unfortunately don't have that loaded up in front of me and don't want to give you guys the wrong one publicly and have to scramble backwards after and say, look dumb. So Lord knows I don't need any help doing that. So.
Well, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your
Thank you.
time.
Of course, thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate it. Alrighty, so next on the agenda, we have public comment regarding today's agenda items. If anyone has any comment regarding today's agenda items, please come to the microphone, state your name, address, direct all questions through me, the chair, and ask that you leave your comments, limit your comments to 5 minutes. If anyone for that. Seeing none.
Wait, Mayor.
Oh, yes, public comment regarding agenda items.
No, this is not the public comments towards the end. Is this the end?
No, we've got two separate. This is the first one. We have, so the one at the beginning is just for agenda items today, and then the one at the end will be for anyone. Okay, wonderful, thank you. All right, anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move right along. Next up, I have appointments to the War Memorial Committee. I am, let's just taking a second to load here, asking for the reappointments of Jeff Wager, John Craven, and Gail Craven to the War Memorial Committee, all with terms expiring on July 1st, 2023.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kabawatan,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi, Erzeppa,
Abstain?
Bond Crooks.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Erzeppa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Clerk. Appreciate that. Next up, we have under General, the Guidance Center 2019-2020 Voluntary Assessment. We have, I'm looking for your concurrence for the disbursement in the amount of $8,000 to the Downriver Guidance Center.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman?
the term voluntary assessment, do all communities pay that amount or some type of amount to the guidance center, or are we kind of like, we pay it and maybe another community doesn't?
So, and I, knock on wood, I could be wrong. Normally I'd defer to Scott on this one, but with him not being here, I think the voluntary assessment is to just be a part of the organization,
Okay.
that we could opt out of all their
Okay.
services. But to my knowledge, that's how that works. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, is unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much. Next up, 33rd District Court. I will defer to our liaison there, Councilman LaFever.
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion to receive and place and file the Case Flow Assistance Fund. Trenton received a check in the amount of $2,808.57.
So moved. Oh, I'm sorry, support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much, Councilman. Next up, Emergency Management Coordinator, City of Trenton Emergency Operations Plan. Mr. Haley.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. On June 8th, the mayor agreed to the changes to the Emergency Operations Plan that are required at least every 4 years by the state of Michigan as well as FEMA. And it has been updated by all of the different departments and some of the other businesses in the area. And so I'm asking for the mayor to please advise the council and the public that the new emergency operations plan was approved on June 8th of 2020, and all of the documentation to FEMA has been forwarded to the state police for their review on its way to Region 5 over in Chicago.
That was so moved.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, is unanimously so ordered. Thank you for all your help on this,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Haley, and not only that, for everything the last few months, too, so. All right, next up, we have our City Controller 2019 MERS Actuarial Valuation and Amortization Extension Agreement.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you, I have the 2019 MERS valuation. Normally, this document provides our annual required contribution, but for this year, because we entered into the extension agreement, that amount does not apply. So we will be, as of July 1st, our contribution will be $2.5 million instead of the higher, almost $4 million number. And then in our next budget, it'll be a factor of that 2.5 and not the 4.3 that's reported in this report. I just didn't want you to, that's why I gave you both reports at this time. We are 61% funded based on these assumptions in this report. For the state uniform assumptions, we're a little bit lower, 57%, so we'll probably have to do another corrective action plan for PA 202. So, and then there's just the information in the report. And so I need you to receive and place this on file.
I would so move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you, Madam Controller. Next up, City Engineer, request for professional services, water and sewer GIS system services.
Thank you. The city, along with its consultant, Fishbeck Engineers, we recently completed the SAW grant and have started to implement the mandated requirements of this asset management program. In accordance with the Michigan Safe Drinking Water Act and also our treatment plant NPDES permit, the city is required by EGLE to annually report, implement, and update the GIS-based asset management program. Attached are the proposals prepared by Fishbeck for the continuation of these professional services to assist the city. Their work will be performed as needed and in collaboration with self-perform work by the engineering, DPS, and wastewater treatment plant staff. Your favorable consideration is requested to proceed with entering the professional services agreement with Fishbeck for the not-to-exceed project budgets of $28,500 and $32,500. And the funding is available in the associated accounts water, sewer O&M, and also wastewater treatment plant.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much, Mr. Hogan.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got Lake Communication, Parks and Recreation, Downtown Surrey Bicycle Livery Proposal. Mr. Wagner.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to present this because I guess I took the lead on this with Joanne, okay?
Wonderful.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor and council, for taking this as a late item. The agenda item is a Downtown Surrey Bicycle Livery Proposal, and we have been contacted by Miss Loretta Summer of Flat Rock, who is proposing a Surrey bike livery taxi service to serve the downtown, Elizabeth Park, and potentially the international wildlife when it opens. This type of venture is a direct alignment with our Trail Town Master Plan, and we believe it will be an asset to our downtown and community as a whole. We recommend a trial period program with Ms. Summer, provided they meet the following. One, an interim agreement for the year, which with financial arrangement of 5% of sales or $250, whichever is greater. Meeting our city's requirements related to liability insurance risk management, entering into a hold harmless agreement with the city, and approval of the city administrator, city attorney, city engineer, and the director of police and fire services. This agreement would allow them, the proposed business, to utilize either a proportion of the city hall parking lot or the city lot at Elm and West Jefferson, subject to the approval of your honorable body, items 1 through 4, and we thank you for your consideration.
So moved.
Support. Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Bunkar.
Yeah, Jim, can you explain like what this is and how it works?
It's actually a
On a
bike
typical
delivery,
day.
like similar to what they had downtown, where they drive people around the downtown and through Elizabeth Park and to hopefully to the international wildlife. Why we think this is a good project and for our community is because Trail Town and the bike path are something that we're trying to do, and this we're hopefully will bring people outside of the city of Trenton and Trenton people to know we have a downtown area. Right now, as you may or may not know, we have 12 vacancies, and we're trying to generate people's interest in the downtown. We think this is a trial that we should not miss and pass on, that would hopefully bring attention to potential people that want to build, and also to the fact that we do have some businesses downtown.
And drive what? What are they driving in?
Bicycle.
They're driving them in a bicycle?
Yeah, they drive you around, a Surrey, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
multiple seating, not one person There's, could be 4, could be 6. There are a couple of bicycles that she has. She may even have a bigger one than that. So yes.
And how many of these will they have on a certain lot? I mean, how many would you want on Elm and Jefferson? How many vehicles do they have?
Well, that's all subject to us negotiating with them and getting the police director, the city administrator, the city attorney, and the city engineer on board. It's a subject to our approval and your approval.
Okay, thank you.
We don't know if it's going to be 1, and I'll say 101, but it's probably going to be 3 or 4, probably at the outset.
And people pay to use this?
Yes, people pay to use that. We think the fact that she even thought of this idea is positive for the downtown, and it's positive to our merchants that are still there, that we are thinking of them and trying to create business, okay?
Right, good, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously
Thank
so
you.
ordered. And want to thank both you, Jim and Joanne, for all your work on this, too. This is very exciting, and I think has a lot of opportunity for us. Great. So, seeing no other late items, I will defer to our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Benedetti, for disbursements and statements, reports, and other business.
Make a motion to authorize disbursements for July 6, 2020, amount of $533,013.37.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered.
Make a motion to place on file the Planning Commission annual report for July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered.
Lastly, make a motion to hold a closed study session and a regular study session after that on July 20th. The closed study session is for contract negotiations, and the study session after that would be to discuss marijuana.
And that is to follow the...
Yes, to follow the closed study session.
Support.
And this is, I guess, for both of them after the regular council meeting,
Yes.
too, just for clarification. So it's been moved and supported. No, it's okay. It was worded weird on there. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Deputy Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Cabawatton,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi, Erzeppa,
Yes.
Bond Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Erzeppa.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem.
Sure.
So now for other council business, I'm just going to be very brief on mine. Most recent update for our COVID-19 totals here. No new cases in today's report. We are currently at 167 in total for the city of Trenton. We've seen a little bit of an increase on that that we kind of expected. Obviously, still too many for comfort, but fortunately, nothing too extreme as we've seen some other places. And have not, I didn't check the last date, have not had a fatality in quite some time, which is positive. So we're at 167 total positive cases over the last 3.5 months and 9 fatalities. So while we'd prefer those numbers to be 0, all things considered, could be a lot worse right now, and especially as opposed to where we were at one point. The other thing I wanted to mention that Mr. Wagner brought here too, Wayne County is using actually some of their CARES Act relief dollars for small business grants. They're awarding $50 million to small businesses for grants up to $10,000 each. For anyone that may apply to, they can visit www.waynecounty.com/back-to-work. What you need is your completed W-9s, your profit and loss or tax statements for the 2017, 18, and 19. So make sure you had paid your taxes. Proof of location such as a lease or deed, and for qualifications, you need to have less than 50 full-time employees, less than $1 million in total revenue, be in good standing with the state, be located in a brick and mortar establishment, and make sure that you've been open for at least a year at the time of your application and have experienced revenue losses due to COVID-19. So a good program there. The deadline for that is Friday, July 10th, so make sure you check in on that as soon as possible. So that is all. That is all I have for tonight, and I'm probably going to think of 5 more things later this evening, and I'll kick myself over, but that'll be all right. I know you know where to find me. So we will start now. I think we started with Councilman Peruggi last time, so we'll start with Councilwoman Pate.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to hope that everyone had a good vacation, but also to be careful. I've seen a lot of pictures of a lot of people together, so please try and social distance as much as you can. Limit your time indoors. And my son actually went to the Beaumont Clinic, which is up on West Road, and I think, well, it's not quite to Allen Road, so you have to do the tour around because of the construction. They are doing throat swabs, and it was very quick and painless, and we got our results back in 2 days. Thankfully, he was negative, but it's very easy to do if you think you need to get a test, and it is covered by your insurance, so please make sure you get tested if you need to. And I know Joanne will probably talk about this today, but I'm also very excited and want to welcome you to what's called Wheeling Wednesdays. The Trail Town Committee has been working very, very hard. There's a lot of people to thank for all their support on that in that committee, but I especially want to mention Chris Sorensen, who is doing all of the technical work for that. So basically what's going to happen is every Wednesday, a new tour of the city. We're focusing on downtown the month of July, and then we are focusing on uptown for the month of August. So you get to experience our town in 8 different ways. The DIA exhibit will be coming out very shortly. You've probably seen some artwork starting to pop up around town. So please get out on your bikes, on the trails while you're walking around, and notice some things that are happening in our town. It's pretty great, and I just thank everybody who's involved with that. And that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kabawatan.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'd like to thank Ron Henricks and Jim Perry over at Ron from the Chamber, Southern Wayne County Regional Chamber, and Jim Perry over at DCC. I had the honor of attending an event with both those gentlemen the other day. Jim Wagner was there as well, kind of reopening downriver and just reminding people that small businesses are out there, and please support your small businesses. And I mean, those folks, along with many, many others, have been just tirelessly working to support this downriver area, and I do applaud them because it's not an easy job right now, and they're doing a heck of a job. So, I would like to commend them for the great work they've done. I'd also like to thank the 2 gentlemen from the fire department that came by today and brought the new fire truck. If you didn't have a chance to see it, pretty nice piece of equipment, pretty impressive, and it's always fun to get a shiny piece of equipment in the garage, right, Rick?
Right.
New toy. It's not a toy, but so I'd like to thank those folks and really thank all of our frontline employees here at the city and just across the board. And other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
Great, thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Von Crooks.
Yeah, just anything. Do we have any update on McCall Steel, how things are going?
I did get an update today via email, just their situation report that they send out that I unfortunately did not read before coming in. I got it late this afternoon. I know that they've been working at the site. They'd gone back there probably well over a month ago, and that they were still working with Eagle and the EPA just for the stove demolition piece of it to just get a plan in place. I know that normally I'd have Scott give this update because he was on a Zoom meeting with them just maybe 2 weeks ago or so. But I know that, at least knock on wood, to my knowledge, there haven't been any other major hangups or anything. There haven't been any sort of notice of violations or anything going wrong there. So the last conversation, and Mr. Hogan, I don't know if you have anything to add or anything to that too, but that there wasn't, I figure you had actually talked to the expert in this field, but as opposed to me just blabbering on. But that for the most part, it seemed, at least in the last conversation I had, that they felt more confident going forward that they'd have something in place with Eagle to get those stoves taken down and do so safely. So I think it's
So they're still on track doing.
Certainly, yeah. It sounded like it was kind of just becoming like a chicken and egg situation of who does what when. But yeah, just it does sound though like everything's still on track as planned, and hopefully one day we'll have a clean slate.
Yeah, great,
So,
thank
yeah.
you.
Councilman?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I did forget one thing. I pulled what you had said, I'll remember it later. I did want to thank Joanne and the Recreation Department for all the work that you guys have done on the pool, getting that opened. I've had a lot of great feedback about it, and it sounds like the plan is working and working well, so thank you very much.
Councilwoman Bunker?
No, that's great. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, and it's like I said, I'd have Scott give the update. I'm not being here
Excellent.
tonight. We'll get a more formal and probably more scientific explanation than what I gave. So, but yeah, and to piggyback off Scott, that was one of the things that I'll kick myself over. But thank you, Joanne. That I, knock on wood, we're a week in. I have not received one complaint to me personally about how it works, and it doesn't matter what you did at that point. You could paint the traffic lines, and someone would say that they're too bright or too dull. So, so yeah, no, great job on that to you and your team, and thank you very much for all the gray hairs that everyone added throughout it too. So, all right, Councilman Benedetti.
Just, again, to piggyback off that, Joanne, I think the pool, people look like they're enjoying it, they're doing it. I guess, if you don't mind, can you answer just the question? So, but does it look like it's working? Is it what you thought it would be? Is it more than you thought it would be? Because it's got to be hard to tell everybody to stay away from each other. I know where we go camping, they have a sign-up sheet for 30 minutes. And you try telling a 9-year-old you can go swimming once every 4 hours.
Yeah. So thank you, and thank you for the compliments. And I will say that I'm extremely proud of our staff. They have risen to the challenge and have done an amazing job. From everywhere from the the frontline lifeguard and pool attendant, supervisors, all the way up to our staff in the office as well. Not only did we open a pool differently, we've also started a new registration program. It's brand new software that we're all learning on the fly. So we're grateful for that opportunity. And again, I'm very proud of the staff and very grateful for all of their hard work. So to answer your question is, how is the pool doing? Actually, it's going well. I think our numbers are not quite what we anticipated right off the bat. However, most all of our afternoon open swim sessions have been at capacity. The evening sessions are a little lighter than we had hoped. However, what's happening is if people can't get in because it's full at the afternoon session, they're opting to come in the evening. So we have made some modifications to our staffing and also some of our programming that maybe didn't quite fill. So we've combined some classes and things to be very fiscal responsible that way. So that from that standpoint, it's going well. And we have received very positive comments from the residents of the community. And again, we appreciate everybody's patience and willingness to work with us. And our phone is really ringing off the hook, and we appreciate people calling if they're having some difficulties with our new registration software. Once you get in, it really is like night and day from our old system. And so it's really quite easy to navigate. It's just a bit of a learning curve. But again, I was going to go through that when it was time for department heads. But again, I encourage people to just contact us if they're having any issues. So.
Thank you. And then we got to include Mr. Hogan, because his guys got the pool ready to fill with water and get going. So, no, I'm just, I want to make sure they don't forget. We appreciate everything they're doing for us with that. It's been a weird 4 months around here. Besides that, Mayor, I have nothing.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Councilman LaFever.
Just a couple of things. Joanne, you and your group did a great job. Joanne took time out of her busy schedule from up north to give me a call and advise me what's going on over there. I appreciate that. Very much appreciate it. A couple questions. Carol Garrison's no longer with the city? She is with the city?
I think that this might technically be her last week, but regardless.
Oh, she is with the city then. Okay. All right. And
I would have to double check to confirm that.
That's fine. As far as we know, she's with the city. Okay. And the other one I wanted to talk to was in school, Superintendent Rod Wakeham. He retired or resigned. I don't know what he did, but he's no longer the superintendent. I want to give a kudo to him. I thought that he did a good job. In some areas, did a very good job. He single-handedly got that millage passed. Nobody believed it would pass but him. He got that done. Kudos to him. And he's, whatever, I don't know if he's retired or whatever, but he's no longer with the schools anymore. And I thought he did a good job while he was here. All right? On a couple other issues, on the, Chief, are we doing seatbelt enforcement over there by Owen School?
Oh,
Okay. All right, thank you.
we have signs up to slow people down.
But not doing it. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. And that's really all that I have.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman. So we will go on to our other elected officials here. We'll go in the same order as normal. So Mr. Deputy Clerk, do you have anything for us tonight?
Okay, so our next regular council meeting will be Monday, July 20th at 7 p.m., followed by a closed session for the purpose of discussing contract negotiations, followed by a study session for the purpose of discussing marijuana. And that's it.
Great, thank you very much.
I have a question.
And then we'll go, yep.
I have a question. The absentee ballots, do you know about the deadline for returning them if you want to apply for the absentee ballots, or when they might be going out for the August election? Can you give us an update? Or I don't know if you know that, but.
Yeah. So the last day for them to be mailed out is the Friday before the election, and we're going to be open. The clerk's office is open 8:30 to 5 on the Saturday before, and you can also come in the Monday, so the day before the election. You just can't leave with your ballot.
Okay.
So, yep.
I had a question for Alan. Can you give us any updates on the things that you're involved with?
Yeah, you know, it would be nice. I thought, I missed it. I thought we were going to add a little thing about litigation discussion at the next closed session.
Can we hear that?
Sure. Yeah. Mr. Mayor. Pro
Sure, I'll
Tem.
make a motion. We had 4 minutes. Think that'll work for you, Al, 4 minutes?
No, at the next closed session, it'll be less than 4 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to put time, I'm just teasing you. So at the next,
Nothing tonight?
at the next closed study session
I would
for
support
litigation
that.
purposes.
Okay, along,
Let's support.
So we got the motion and support here. Is there any further discussion on that? All right. Mr. Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll? Throw a nice wrench at you here. No, I think that makes a lot of sense, just given, yeah.
Okay. LaFever,
yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi, Rzeppa,
Yes.
Bon Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Caboadon.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Rzeppa.
Great, thank you very much.
One more thing. I didn't know Jim Wagner was going to leave so fast, but I wonder if we could have him. He's not here anymore, is he?
No.
Okay. At next
He's here
meeting.
for 15 minutes, what'd you expect?
I know. I'm only saying for a little while. Anyway, at next, I wonder if he could come down and give us a report of all the things that he's involved with. Okay?
Sure. Sure, I actually, just be late, well, now my weeks are getting jumbled, so it would just before the 4th, he actually had sent me probably 4-page memo, just an update too, and so I had talked to, actually, Scott had requested, Nelson said the same thing, I've had these same conversations today even, that I think that it'll make sense probably in the next couple weeks, just to get a study session on the books where we can all get together and have him do that update too.
Thank you.
That I think that'll probably be the easiest way. No, thank you, it's a good point. All right, so where we're at here, so we had Deputy Clerk squared away, so Mr. McCullough.
Yes. Yeah, just want to let folks know and want to thank them for those that received their tax bill and came into City Hall right around July 1st. That's when most people received it and paid their taxes. For those people that received their bills and they have until August 31st to pay the bills without a penalty. And then, most importantly, for those that didn't receive a bill, a residential tax bill, please contact us because you should have received it. So I just want to give a fair warning out there that everybody...
I didn't get it in the mail. That doesn't mean I'm good
You
for
don't
the
have to
year.
pay. Don't do
Just because you didn't open your mail does not count.
No, trust me, it's on my kitchen table.
I understand.
You were covering them, Mike. You were going to cover some this year for me.
I understand.
Well, thank you, Mr. McCall. We appreciate it. All right, so I don't see Mr. Dahlquist here, Joni. So we will go on to any other department heads wishing to speak to the public.
I'd just like to remind the residents with this long stretch of very hot and dry weather, if they're able to, with their lawn irrigation systems, to put their timers on a setting 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., that will help offset our peak use, and we're flirting with reaching our limit based on our contract. So these are extenuating weather conditions, but We see sprinklers running in the middle of the day, and quite frankly, you're wasting your water. It's evaporating before it hits the roots. So just a reminder, please, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. I just got my water bill too, so that's an excellent reminder there.
What was yours, $25?
I don't want to answer that. It's less than yours, I'll assure you.
Oh, I guarantee you it is. I guarantee it. I got a pool.
Joanne.
Thank you. As Councilwoman Pate mentioned, the Trenton Trail Town is starting their Wheelin' Wednesdays, starting this Wednesday. And basically what it is a scavenger hunt style game that you participate in through an app on your smartphone. You will need to download Action Bound application on the smartphone and search for Trenton, and our Trail Town Wheelin' Wednesday activities will be available. And there will be 4 in the month of July. They will be live on each Wednesday morning. So you are able to do these events at any time throughout the week, or even later. You can do them at any time. So we're encouraging families to get out with their or friends, against very social distance, respecting social distancing, but participating in that. We also have worked with the downtown businesses, partnered with them, 2 different businesses each week that they will also be giving an incentive for persons that have completed the event. More information is available on the Parks and Recreation Facebook page, and it will also be on the city website.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Gagne. Any other department heads wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will now open it up to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please state your name and address. Direct all questions through me, the chair, and we ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Good evening, Council and everyone else. My name is April Hall. I am a resident of Trenton, and I'm here today to let you know about my daughter, who has been missing for 1 year as of tomorrow. Her name is Amaria Hall. She's 16 years old. I wanted to bring the information just briefly forth to you. Amaria is a very sweet girl. She's still around. She's smart, creative, and talented. She's been an excellent student, and she's one of those children that had engineering skills. She was part of her swim team, the dance for 13 years. She played volleyball with U of M, can play piano by ear, just can learn anything, gourmet cook. Amaria was stricken with illnesses in the 7th grade, which afforded her to have 10 specialists. Okay, at this point, she still has about 8 specialists. At that time, she was in the 7th grade. At the end of her 8th grade year, her known-to-be father passed away. 6 months later, I myself had cancer, and it affected Amaria greatly. She's a depression patient, and she's out there. She's being trafficked. She's been missing since July the 7th. She has several medications that she was on, including the depression medication. And I've had so many situations in regards to traffickers that I did wonder to myself why Trenton PD did not expediently follow my child's case. Okay, I've been taunted by text, LOL, are you still looking for her? The second week, I had texts coming from the same number, say September the 3rd, and in between there, the first month where she had been spotted, the 4 days later, she called and said that she could come home if the investigators were told that this person did not take her. But the detective at that time did not take that seriously, okay? Finally, the traffickers called on September the 3rd from the same number that they had been texting for 3 months, which was the same number. The second week, they text me, are you still looking for her, LOL? At that time, I heard mama, mama. Then I heard her gagged, yelling at the top of her voice, and as I called back, I heard her gasping for air. Since then, there have been other tips where she had been seen in another metro area, Detroit area, which I don't know whether I should say where, but I do know that the detective, again, that same detective said that that could be hearsay. And a month later, as I got the Washtenaw sheriffs to open up a case, they got a tip that she was seen in that same place, okay? At this point, I have so much evidence that my child has been trafficked, and my question to Trenton Council is for Trenton Council to ask Trenton PD, how can they get FBI involved now to take her case, because they did not take her case, okay? Why, last summer, as this summer, did I have to get in touch with the state police? They had a tip out of state, then automatically the FBI got in touch. That was last year, and that fell through. But even before that tip came, and after that tip came, why did they not get in touch with the state police last summer? And again, 2 months ago, I went to the state police. I got the numbers. I called the state police. If the FBI did not take the case, as I was told, and I asked them over and over, how can you get her on the Human Trafficking Task Force? At least I was told that the FBI would have to do it. But if they didn't take the case, why did they not forward it to state police? Why did it take my calls? I'm a retired English teacher by 17 years by my lung cancer, and all I know how to do is write. So everything that I have discussed with Trenton has been placed in writing, starting the second week when I received a certain unbelievable type of treatment that I received from the force. So now I am asking them, even though I have called the state police, and the state police may or may not have gotten the file from when I last spoke with them. I've called Trenton 3 times and once each week for the last 3 weeks, and then I did not hear from them this past week, and I sent a letter the week prior. So that I was right at the end, and those are my questions. And I would also like to know how, because I'm sure you may have further questions, can this be placed on the agenda for next month's meeting? Thank you.
Sure. I mean, I guess first off, I want to say that I can't even fathom to be in the situation that you're in. I'm so sorry that this is even something that you have to even conceptualize dealing with. I'm not personally going to pretend to be some sort of law enforcement expert. I have no background in the legal basis of human trafficking and things, but the one thing, and I also don't want to sit here and make you any grandiose promises that, oh yeah, everything's going to be fine, we'll take care of it. But the one thing I can assure you that I will talk to our department about this case in particular, that I will read through the entirety of the case file myself, and if there is any possible way to get the FBI, state police, whoever it may be involved, to take a further look at this, to see what we can do to help bring her home, I'm certainly happy to do so. And you've got my personal word for that. Like I said, I don't know how much we want to get into the details of the case publicly, given the sensitive nature of it. But at very least, we can assure you of that and make sure that there's an open line of communication between you and our department to help solve any of those gaps, at very least. And again, I really can't imagine being in your shoes, and I'm so sorry that this is even something that you have to deal with someone you love and not knowing where they are and hoping they can come home. And I think that we can all hope and pray and do whatever we can in our power to make that happen. So I'll take a look at this. I'll talk to some folks and see what we can do. What that may be, I personally have no idea. This is something that I've never had any kind of interaction with, or fortunately or unfortunately, for that matter. But we'll do whatever we can. I can assure you of that.
They also want to do an address too.
So I'm not sure if anyone from council had anything. I know Ms. Hall had referenced questions here too, if anyone had anything.
For the record, my address is, I stay in Breton Village. My address is 2151 King, 48183, Trenton.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
I was just going to say, Mayor, you did a great job, and I know you would give your word to look into this, and, we all feel your pain, and I'm sure that, the mayor will handle it, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, likewise. You did a great summary of that, Stephen, and it's the same. I have a 4.5-year-old child myself, and I can't imagine, so.
Thank you.
My heart's out to you.
Okay, so does anyone else? So Ms. Hall, I guess, just in terms of next up, like I said, this comes a lot, obviously, before I was mayor in this role or anything, so I've got my own background that I've got to get filled in on here too before I can make anything, but we'll make sure that someone reaches out to you very soon, and if there's anything we can do, like I said, you have my word that we will.
Yes, and also just to let you know, there is a vigil and prayer for Amaria tomorrow here at the courtyard at 6:00 p.m., honoring her life. There are leads that she has been seen with the trafficking ring. Yes, if anyone wants to attend, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys coming. Anyone else from the public have anything tonight? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. We'll adjourn at 8:03 p.m.